Okay, so this warm-up was something that we did earlier, not from the other night's homework. Um, don't get too bent out of shape about the other night's homework, okay? I'm only going to ask when we get tested on this for you to find the correlation coefficient and the line of best fit, which the calculator does all the work for you. If you don't have the calculator, you should try to get it. Wasn't it somebody in here that said they got it downloaded on their phone?
Yeah.
That was you, Drake?
Yeah.
Okay, so check with Drake if you can't get one and get it downloaded on your phone. I've got a few extras that I'll let you borrow if you need to for the test. When is the test? Wednesday, yeah.
Can we have like a refresher course?
Yeah, we'll go through it again, but I just don't want you to get too bent out of shape about it. You'll be fine, okay, for the test this week. But we'll start using that calculator more and more, and you'll understand that it be to your advantage to have it when we get further and further along in this class. But for this, you can use any calculator, really. You can use this one right here, right? One God gave you. But anyway, it says solve for y and graph the solution, okay? So when we solve for y, the first thing we got to do is get rid of that 3/4, right? We could distribute it, but let me show you something that would be a little easier to do. Instead of distributing it, let's go ahead and just take it to the other side, that 3/4. And how do I move it to the other side? Divide it by 3/4 or multiply by its reciprocal, right? I think that'd be the easiest thing to do, is multiply both sides by the reciprocal. That way we only have to multiply 4/3 times 6, not 3/4 times both of those and stuff. So it's a little bit easier and quicker if we do it this way. So the 4/3 and the 3/4 cancel. So all I have is 8x minus 2y then on the left. And then just go 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 3 is 8. And the fraction's gone. And now it's easier to get y by itself, isn't it? Does that make sense what I did there? So sometimes, a lot of times we get right in the distributive mode to solve stuff, but sometimes it's easier to take that number that we were going to distribute to the other side and then see what we can do. Okay, so that's just another way to solve this case, an inequality. So we're going to subtract the 8x and divide by the -2. And once we got rid of that 3/4, it made everything a lot easier, didn't it? But what do we got to remember? We divided by -2. It becomes less than, right? Because we divided by a negative. Did you remember that detail? Okay, don't forget that detail on Wednesday. And then -8 divided by -2 is positive 4x. And positive 8 divided by -2 is -4. And I like to put, if it's a whole number, I like to put it over 1 so I have a rise and a run for my slope. Okay, does that make sense so far? Then from here it's pretty easy. We're going to start at -4 because that's our y-intercept. Remember, that's the b value is our y-intercept. And then I'm going to go up 4 and over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Now, one of the students in the second period class that I have just found the x and y intercept when they did it. So they found this point and that point, which is okay. It said to solve for y, but another way to do these, to graph, right, is using x and y intercepts. Put 0 in for x, 0 in for y, right? So is this a dashed or a solid line? Dash. Did you guys remember that detail? Okay. And And then on these, we have to shade. Okay? So normally when it's less than, which side would we shade if it's like that? Or what do we think when it's less than? Below, which would be down here, right? What do you do if you're not sure? Do a test point, right? Get that other TV working for you guys. Okay, and the test point we like to use is 0, 0. Okay? And, some kids will put it in here. I usually go back to the original problem when I test the point. If I put a 0 there and there, I get 8 times 0 minus 2 times 0. What's all that in the parentheses become? 0. And then what's 3/4 times 0? 0, right? So when I substitute 0 up in the original, I get this. Is that a true or a false statement? That is false. So what's that mean about your point then? If it doesn't work, we don't shade the side it's on, we shade the opposite side. You guys realize that, right? So remember, these graphs, any graph is a picture of all the solutions to the problem, in this case to this inequality. So all the points that are in this shaded area, bottom to the right, none of the points on the line, because it's dashed, will work in that original inequality. Any of the points where the 0, 0 is over here, above it, to the left, none of those would work. Okay? So that was a type of problem that sometimes gives us trouble. Okay, so that's why I wanted to just warm up with that and make sure we're taking care of switching inequality if we need to, shading, dash, or solid line, that stuff. Okay, the homework we had. I'm going to show you on the calculator again. I'm not worried about you being able to make a scatter plot for it. Okay? I already got this. The answers are still on there. Just get rid of them. Okay, so we're going to use the calculator. Our graphing calculator, I have a TI-84. A TI-83 is fine. Some of you, see mine's black and white. Some of you got the newer versions and it has different color lines when it graphs them and stuff for you. Again, it doesn't have to be that fancy, but I know they're kind of hard to find sometimes, and I know they're expensive. So if you can find a cheap app, or yours was free, right, Drake?
Yeah.
A free app like Drake did, you can put it on your phone. I'll let you use your phone for if you have to use the graphing calculator. All right. Anyway, number 6 was talking about the mass of a hummingbird and wing beats per second. You ever seen a hummingbird? It's really hard to see its wings because they're going so fast, right? So we're supposed to put those numbers in our list and figure out our correlation coefficient and the line of best fit, okay? So what's the first button I got to push to put my numbers in my list? Stat, right? That's this one right here. Okay? This hit enter, and that'll take you to your lists. Now, if you have numbers in there already, okay, hit your up arrow key, and then hit clear, and then enter, and that'll clear your list if you've got numbers in there right now. What's the matter, Hannah? Stat, and then hit enter. Okay, so if you need to clear out a list to do a new problem, I'm doing number 6 right now. That's what you do. Up arrow key, highlight L1, hit clear and enter, and then go over to the right. Use your right arrow key, and then up again, clear and enter, and that'll clear that list, all the numbers that were in there for you. Okay, the top row we'll use as list 1. That's the mass in grams of the hummingbird. And then the bottom row we'll use for list 2, which is the number of beats per second. All right, so I'm just gonna put those in 3.1 and a 2, 3.2 and a 4, 3.7, 1.9. Just hit enter each time and it goes right down the list for you. And 4.5. So first of all, make sure you put all the right numbers in. Okay? So, you should check that. Then the right arrow key will push you at the top of the next list. And then you'll just hit those numbers. 60, 85, 50. 45, 55, 90. And 40. So when you're done, you should see the same amount. So we've got 7. It tells me here that I'm going to put the 8th one in if I were going to put one in. Okay? So you should check that part first. So that way the calculator won't make a mistake if you put the right numbers in. Okay? Anybody having issues still putting the numbers in the list? Any questions? We okay? Okay. So again, I'm not worried about you drawing the scatter diagram on the calculator. Again, I can show you how to do that, but I'm not going to test you on that. And I know you guys could do that by hand real easy anyway. You could find the point 285 for me on any graph, right? And put a little dot there. So that's something that you guys already know how to do anyway. Okay, so the next part is finding that R value. Because they don't really give us the equation in here on how to do it by hand. Okay? So I'm not going to worry about it. So we go back to stat. That's that same button. But this time, instead of hitting enter, we're going to hit the right arrow key to highlight calc with the calculate menu. And these are called linear regressions, okay, or regression lines. And that's number 4 on this list. Okay, so all I do is hit number 4. Some kids like to hit the down arrow key till the 4 is highlighted. It's your choice. Okay, and then once I hit enter now, it'll give me what I need for the problem on the test. What the equation is going to be and what the correlation coefficient is going to be, the R value, right? Now, some of you with the newer ones, when you go to that LinReg number 4, you have to take your cursor down to the last thing that says calculate and highlight the calculate, then hit enter, and it will find those for you. Now, who's not getting the R squared and the R? Just
Invalid dimension.
stat, move over to calc, and hit enter. Oops, I did the wrong thing. Hit 4, sorry. Stat, calc, and 4. So this is going to be a error because I didn't take the 1 bar stat down, so I'm just going to clear that. Hannah. Because you hit the 1 instead of 4. So hit the stat and the calc, and then hit 4.
Mine's just saying invalid dimension.
You got it now, right? Yeah. That's it. Okay, so, see that calculate there?
Yeah.
We wanna go, and I just hit stat and, calc number 4, okay? You just go down to that and then hit enter.
I did that last Is there something wrong with our chart? It didn't look like there was.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Alright, let me do this one.
Yeah. It wasn't.
Okay, try it again. There's the numbers, Chelsea. Yeah. Autumn? So look at the numbers on my screen there to the right, see if they're matching yours. You got them in? Okay, stat, okay. Right arrow would be to count.
This one?
And then number 4.
I can't modify it back to 5.
Yeah.
I go down.
Okay. Well, let's see here, we might have to turn your diagnostics on. So, we're gonna go second, maybe we just gotta hit enter. So try it again, then hit enter. Oh, that's right, hit 4, then enter. Yeah. Right, you go to that, did you? Maybe just hit enter again. That's it, yeah.
And then
No, here's what I want to do. I'll show you. Okay, anybody else having calculator issues?
It worked, but now it's not giving me the R.
Okay, I changed that.
Can we have like a calculator guide on our set?
No, you're welcome. All right, so here's what I want then. For the answer to this problem. Okay? I want the equation of the line, which is, what's my slope? All right, I said go to 100, didn't I, Friday? So this A is the slope. They don't use M, they use A on this calculator, okay? And then my B is positive 121.97. That's the equation, okay? And then the correlation coefficient is that last number, that R value. And you can go to hundredths as well. Is that a pretty strong correlation or not? That stands for the correlation coefficient. Okay? What are the numbers they go to, the R value? What did we say Friday? -1 to +1. So this is very close to -1. Remember, -1 would be all the lines, if we did the scatter plot, would line up in a perfectly straight line. And they would go this way. All right? +1, same thing, but this way. They'd all line up perfectly straight. They'd all match. You could draw a line and hit them all. Okay? So that's a pretty strong negative correlation, inverse correlation. Like, is it the heavier they are, the more beats maybe? No, not really. I mean, I guess the lighter they are, the more beats, right? So, that was the question B there. And it said, predict the wing beats rate for a giant hummingbird with a mass of 19 grams. That means to put 19 in for X, because that was the gram part, right? And what happens is you get a negative number. Is that possible to have a negative number of beats? No. So that wouldn't be possible to have a 19 gram hummingbird, at least according to this. Okay? So, but again, for the test, okay, all you're gonna have to be able to do is put it in the list and then go back and calculate the linear regression. And these are the two answers I would want on that, okay? Yeah, that's easy. Okay, yes. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, why don't you try number 8 now. I will give you the numbers. So clear out your list and I'll read off the numbers for you. I will wait for you. So go to stat, enter, and then go up to L1 and hit clear, and then enter, and then over to L2, hit clear and enter. That way you'll get a fresh start.
Alright, split stat.
Stat, enter.
Okay.
All right, and then you should have L1 and L2. Anybody not seeing L1 and L2? Sometimes kids, when they clear their lists, instead of clearing them, they delete them, okay? Do not delete, hit clear.
I deleted it.
Gabriel, you did not.
I actually didn't. He's counting. I smoked that.
Did you really?
What?
Did you really delete it?
No, I got it back.
Okay.
No.
Because there's some things you gotta do to get it back. All right, we all clear, ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, L1, here's your numbers. 2, 8, 15, 21, 24, 30.
Oh, shoot. We're gonna have to say it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just restart. Restart.
Wait,
Just
finish
restart.
it. Finish.
Quiet. Next one is 33. And last one's 37. You should have 8. All right? I'll say them again. 2, 8, 15, 21, 24, 30, 33, and 37. L2. 71, 63, 64, 194, 160, 267, 258, 210. I'll say them again. So check them. 71, 63, 64, 194, 160, 267, 258, 210. right, so I'll put them in real quick. Okay, find the equation of the line and the correlation coefficient. And then I'll do it and see if we match that. All right, so from here, you go to stat, calc, or, and some of you have to go down to calculate. If I just hit enter, it'll do it for me. So these are the numbers you should get for this one. Okay?
Just grammatically, I think it's very wrong.
Okay.
I did it right. What do I do?
So, y equals 6.13x plus 30.71. R value, 0.88. Strong positive correlation. Okay? What if that was close to 0? If the scatter plot would be all over the place, right? Yes.
I think things don't like calculators, but I hate graph, I always go with blank.
Well, don't worry about graphing.
Like, and then
Right now.
I keep getting the very wrong answer no matter how.
Then one of your numbers is probably just type it wrong. But you have 8 and 8, right? You have 8 and 8 on the numbers?
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know what numbers I typed it.
okay, I'll look at it then. Joe? Sure. Number 10, some of you weren't sure what to put for number 10 on the homework. Okay, so I'll try to make it look sort of like it did. Kind of like that. And the question was, estimate the value of R for each scatter plot. Okay? So first of all, what do you think? Positive or negative? Negative, good. You think it's strong or moderate? Moderate. So what decimal point, what decimal do you think we would be for moderate? Yeah, 0.5 and 0.6, 0.456, somewhere in there. My book said 0.6, but it's not all over the place. You can kind of tell the line would go this way, right? It's not like a bunch here and a bunch up there, it's like all over the quadrant. That would be more like a 0 then. Like if you were looking at your book, number 9 would be more like a 0. Number 11 would be like a 0.9. Okay? But that's all they wanted there, for you to just kind of have an idea if it was a strong or weak, moderate correlation.
Can you calculate that?
Not by looking at this, no. You'd have to know what all those points were.
So for that, you just kind of guess?
You would guess, yeah. And I'm not giving you a question like that. Okay? So again, all I want for your test with this type of problem is those two things, the equation and the R value. Okay? You'll be given a set of data to put in your calculator. Okay? So, we are done with this chapter. We went through sections 2.1 through 2.5. We skipped 2.6 and we did 2.7 and 8. Not quite that order, but that's the ones we covered. All right, so it's going to be a full chapter test. It's going to be 95 points.
Oh my.
Okay, and it's 19 problems.
On Wednesday?
19 problems, that's it?
Not 19 problems?
On Wednesday?
This Wednesday, yes.
Can we bump that?
Rest in peace.
For your practice test, you don't have to do 8, 12, or 17. Okay? It used to be a 22 question test, but we have decided to take a few out. We're taking those 3 out. Okay, but I still had these already run off, so the practice ones, so.
Wait, what were the points that they did those ones? 100 something?
Yeah, 100 and what?
Dang.
105? 115? 110? What's 5 times 22? 110?
You guys can start.
Stat, health, number 4. Go down to calculate.
Sean, no, I'm hitting it.
Enter.
I had half of them.
And it's still not doing it. We'll get it fixed.
You don't have to get Sean.
I didn't want it.
Yeah, seriously, better wait. Yeah, 5 minutes. You know what's
Welcome.
You get a time by 100, you get it. And you can still. Big boy.
And realize how common this also works in there's
Okay, what was going on with you?
five people in that I told my sister, I was like every teenage boy on the way, he's like one leaf on the ground.
Let's call this.
Thinking about the songs they might play against you wrong.
There's a way to do it for it, I found, just write it down.
I swear to God.
That is fun.
That is so stupid.
My stress manometer.
It's hard to remember all the.
Go, come on, go line.
Go on.
Come on.
Set so good. We shouldn't set so long.
Oh, like that, I don't think it's good. I don't feel like taking it.
Let's see what's going on here.
I only have like 5 more.
I just have already.
Second one.
You just spit
Hey, Goober. What? That's scary. That's scary. I'm not Gary. Gary. I'm Gabriella. Come on. Astro World. Astro World. You know what I'm here for? That is video.
Oh, my God.
Okay, baby. Let's take it over. Okay, baby. Dude, these are max size. You have no option. That's not a 15 bird, that's a standing, that's a running bird. I mean, this is a running bird.
6 weeks?
I was 3. Probably like 8. Way bigger than this kid. This kid's bad, you know.
I wouldn't have been all right number, you
Yeah. Who did you get?
I got a red beard with white blazer down his face. So cute.
So are the babies that you guys are with being raised for slaughter or?
They're beef cows, yeah. We only have 2 heifers and they're gonna stay heifers.
That's fun.
Yeah, yeah, we named ours, we do have to name them, should have DeMarcus. He's DeMarcus now.
We had a cow that lived in our backyard before you moved back to the had to go to our brother's house.
Yeah.
And his name was Dinner. Oh, we also have one named Chicken. We have one named Kitty.
Aw. Have a good day, Mr. Mattingly.
Thanks, you too.
Yes, it's chicken named,